You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it?
Today on Annual Pass, we're talking about an attraction where someone actually sued Universal Studios over. Yeah, it's a big one. Find out what it is on today's Annual Pass. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Annual Pass. This is the podcast where we talk about all things theme parks, rides, shows, attractions. If it happens in a theme park, it happens here on Annual Pass. I'm your host, Jack Pattillo, and of course, joining me, as always, is my lovely, talented, beautiful co-host, BK. Hi, Beaks.
Hello, Jack.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing fabulous. What about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay.
Nice.
You know, it's been like very muggy in Austin the last few days. And it's
gross.
very, very gross, super humid, which actually makes sense because today we're going to be talking about an attraction that takes place on the water. But anyway, we'll get to that in just a little bit. Real quick, some housekeeping. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media stuff. We are annual_pass over on Twitter and on Instagram, Annual Pass Pod over on TikTok. And you can, of course, watch us at youtube.com/annualpass. That's where you can see our video version of the podcast. You can see our faces, and anytime we talk about images, probably throw it up there as well, and also shorts and a whole bunch of other stuff. So go over there, subscribe, check it out. Also, make sure to grab some merch at the store, store.roosterteeth.com. I'm rocking the This Is My Theme Park t-shirt,
Obsessed.
which apparently the twins, Jessica and Jennifer, they were rocking it at Magic Kingdom the other day, or maybe Hollywood Studios, and they got to be in the parade. They got to be like the parade ambassadors.
Oh, so cool.
For the day, because they were rocking the shirt. They're like, that's a cool shirt. You want to be in the thing? And they're like, heck yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, very, very cool. Also, what's going on right now? So we're recording this on March 22nd right now. And I will say, yesterday, March 21st, was registration for the Wine and Dine weekend, which is going to be in November of this year. So that for Rope Drop Run Club, shout out to those guys. So it sounds like most of the people who are trying to get into that race managed to get in. So that's good.
Oh, nice.
And don't forget, it's next month in April 11th. Which I think this episode's going to come out. So it's basically next week. This episode's coming out on the 5th. April 11th is registration for Disney Marathon Weekend 2024, which includes the 5K, the marathon, the half, the 10K, whichever you want to do.
Looking at me.
I'm just saying.
You're just staring at me.
Pretty sure Ben Lexa and B Cakesla, I don't know how to say
Cakes.
it, said you're going to be doing at least the 5K, right? Right, Ben Lexa?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. So we're gonna be up early registering for that on the 11th. So that's next week if you're listening to this podcast live right now, which is pretty wild. Yeah, next week, the next podcast you'll hear will be the day after registration happens. So hopefully we all got it.
You'll find out.
It's tough. So anyway, all right. Well, let's dive into today's episode. So today we are talking about a Universal attraction, a defunct Universal attraction. As a matter of fact, there is a Defunct Land episode on this attraction. We're talking about Jaws the Ride.
Yes.
I watched some trailers for Jaws the movie. Those trailers were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they didn't really, it was before they kind of really showed a lot of footage. It was more like just describing like this predator that could destroy the planet. It's like, what is going on? Obviously, if you don't know what Jaws is a movie that came out in the 70s. It was directed by Steven Spielberg. It was known as the very first summer blockbuster. Kind of changed the face of filmmaking in general, because now summer tentpoles, big movies started coming out in the summer. People would save movies for the summer that they would be bigger, and so forth and so on. It was like Star Wars, Jaws, combo wombo, kind of like destroyed everything as far as filmmaking goes. So that means to be said, Jaws popped up at Universal Studios Hollywood on their backlot tour. So the backlot tour, they have a little portion where you actually kind of go through like a little Amity area. Amity is the location of where Jaws takes place. And in this little tour, like tour guides like pointing out like boats and stuff, and you see a fin off in the distance moving. It's like, uh-oh. And then Jaws pops up next to your tram car and like sprays water and bounces around and stuff. It's been part of the backlot tour since the early, or maybe the late 70s, maybe in the early 80s.
Oh, wow.
And so it's been around forever. It's still there today. And
Okay,
so
cool.
it's funny. I was watching some like Theme Park History did a great video on Jaws, and Defunct Land did a great video. But the original Jaws that popped up on the backlot tour has these like giant fake teeth that just look horrible.
They don't look good?
No,
Oh, no.
not at all. But anyway, they've since made it look more realistic and stuff. But so back in 1990, they were looking. Universal Studios was opening up Universal Studios Orlando, and of course they were opening up a bunch of attractions. And there were about 3 or 4 real big main attractions that kind of opened, which were Confrontation, which we've talked about in the past. I love that attraction. Earthquake, which became Disaster, which I also love. There was the Gory, Gruesome, and Grotesque makeup show, which I love. It's now the horror makeup show, still there now. Animal Actor Stage was there. There was the Psycho House. They had like a replica of the Psycho House in the Bates Motel.
Oh, so cool.
I want to say the Hanna-Barbera 3D show was there.
Ain't no way.
Yeah. Do you know about that one? Or are
No.
you so before the you know where Minions is right now?
Yes.
So it's like the Despicable Me, Mini Mayhem. So before it was that, it was Jimmy Neutron.
Yes,
right?
I remember Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy
I was
Neutron.
there for that.
And before that, it was the Hanna-Barbera something tour. I forget the Ben Lex.
Is it the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera?
That's it. Yeah.
Ooh.
So it was basically the Flintstones, the Jetsons. It was like Muttley, and God, who's the? Anyway, it was a bunch of Hanna-Barbera characters.
Cool.
I'm seeing Freddie Flintstone.
Did you say Freddie Flintstone?
Sorry, I'm looking
My
at
boy, Freddie Flintstone.
I'm sorry, my Ben Lex is broken right
George
now.
Jetson. I'm looking at like 8 different
Georgie
names. My
Jets.
brain just got all jumbled
Freddie
up.
Flintstone,
Huckleberry
Georgie Jets,
Hound.
Huckleberry.
Yogi Bear, the Flintstones, the Jetsons. Oh my God, I can't believe I just said that.
Wow.
Freddie Flintstone.
I looked at all of the characters and my
Flintstone.
brain just like short-circuited.
His boy Elroy. Anyway, that's where Despicable Me is now, and across from it, the actually now it was Shrek, and now it's about to be villain. What is it? Minions Villain Con or whatever it's going to be called.
So it's going to be like Double Minions in the front now.
Yeah. It's basically it's going to be like a little Minion land kind of right when you walk in, because you're going to have Despicable Me, you're going to have the new Minions attraction right across from it, and the Monsters restaurant is now being converted to a Minions restaurant. So it's like a little Minions area right there. We'll see if they do more as far as facades and whatnot, because right now they're like 2 big gray buildings and a restaurant.
Right.
Anyway, we're straying away. So
Really quickly.
Oh gosh, Ben
I
Lexa.
realized why I said Freddie. It's because I was looking at a sentence that the follow-up, it was one of the first 3 simulator ride attractions to be built in Soundstage 42 at Universal Studios, followed by Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast, and now Despicable Me.
There you go. So
Jimmy Flintstone.
the actual attraction itself hasn't really changed. It's always been like those little kind of 4-seater platforms that move around. So like it hasn't changed. It's just been different movies, different theming.
IPs and stuff. Got it.
All right. So Universal opened up back in 1990. I want to say June 7th, 1990 was opening day for Universal Studios. Big opening attraction where Steven Spielberg and a bunch of celebrities were out there. But Spielberg, obviously, he was a creative, creative consultant advisor on Universal Studios. Even to this day, he still gets a cut of anything that Universal makes, which is like as far as ticket sales go, which is wild.
He got a couple rides up in there, so it makes sense.
We've talked about Spielberg in the past as far as like when the Mummy kind of took out Confrontation and sort of like E.T. getting removed, or the Mummy replaced E.T. in Hollywood, and Spielberg wasn't happy about that and threatened to be like, all right, I'm going to pull all my IP out of your parks. And anyway, so Spielberg was there, and the other attraction that was open was Jaws the ride. And so this was going to be the big one. This was like a really longer attraction. All the big attractions had issues opening day. So Confrontation, Earthquake had issues. All that being said, Jaws was the worst offender of all of them. So
really?
Yeah. So okay. I've got some stuff from Wikipedia and various articles all over the place. So the original ride was designed by MCA Universal Planning and Development in association with Ride and Show Engineering Incorporated. Ride and Show is a separate company, which designed the original tour scene. So they were the ones who designed the scene out in California.
The Backlog tour.
Spielberg, who directed the film and the series, also served as a creative consultant for the ride. Nice. So, when it opened up, basically, I think Ride and Show sort of bit off a little bit more than they could chew. No pun intended. And this was a massive undertaking because they had like giant show scenes. They had big animatronics that were underwater. They had to replicate and do stuff over and over again. And it kept breaking down. One interesting thing is in the original show. So did you ride Jaws before it shut down?
Yes.
Okay. So the original show, one of the very first things is you round a corner, just kind of like a point with a lighthouse, and you round a corner, and now it's a boat sinking. And I think the boat sinking was part of the original show, but then Jaws pops up. You see him, you see the fin in the distance, and he pops up and he sprays water at you and stuff, and like the
and I pee my pants because I'm terrified.
The tour guide like shoots a rocket cannon at him and stuff like that. Boom. In the original show, Jaws pops up out of the water and actually bites the ship you're on, and basically kind of like it's close to it and it kind of and bites it, but then shifts the whole thing around. And it's like apparently it moves you like 90 or 180 degrees.
Like
the
boat
you
is
around.
Not safe.
Yeah, and so, but the way the animatronic was designed, it actually kind of clamped on to like the pontoon of the boat. But some genius decided, hey, let's use real shark teeth for the animatronic. So they had actual...
Wait, what?
They had real shark teeth in the original animatronic that bit the boat. And because of that, it started destroying the boats because it literally was biting the boats.
Oh, my God.
And started tearing them apart. Awesome.
That's such a cool fact.
Yeah, and so then the show mainly was pretty much the same, except towards the end, in the later versions of the show, Jaws would pop up, bite an electrical cable, and get shocked to death. Mm-hmm. The original version of the show, which only ran for like maybe 6 months, the Jaws popped up and your tour guide shot at them and hits them, and they explode in a spray of bloody water and parts. And so there's like literally chunks of shark flying in the air and bloody water, which really freaked out a lot of people, surprisingly.
I would not, baby me would have been absolutely terrified. I was already traumatized by that movie as a kid. I like going on that ride was like a horror ride for me.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine my tour guide shooting it and exploding with bits everywhere.
Yeah, and apparently people would freak out because it's like, oh my God, I got shark blood on me. Like it's because it feels
you're
pretty real.
immersed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, needless to say, that didn't work out well. As a matter of fact, in July of 1990, so only a month after it had been open, a 39-year-old man from Sicklerville, New Jersey, fell into the water after apparently a piece of the railing of the ship gave way. He fell in towards the finale scene, apparently, and managed to like just not get into the like the animatronics and stuff. Like apparently he fell into like the one scene that was like a bigger, deeper portion of it.
Oh my gosh!
And just got lucky. He eventually got back up on the boat, and apparently, supposedly, this is allegedly, the people on the boat cheered because they assumed it was part of the show.
Oh, this was it. He's a paid actor.
But also, there's some articles I read that basically, like, he had 2 kids with him, and apparently the kids were like, "Oh my God, Jaws is eating my daddy," and like,
oh my God,
yeah, it was a horrible, horrible thing. He sued the park for $1 million, and I'm not sure if he won that. I'm assuming he probably settled out of court,
did.
you know. But
they gave him some monies there. That's traumatic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's pretty significant. So, not a cool thing to happen.
On opening.
What attraction would be the worst thing aside from like a roller coaster? What would be the worst attraction to fall out of? And like, I'm not saying like bodily harm, but I mean like, where would you be?
That Rapids ride.
Oh, which
any of them?
Oh, like Grizzly River Run.
Yeah, any of them when you're in the boat
barges.
and it's like water just going.
Are you talking about like a log flume like Splash Mountain? Or are you talking?
No, I'm talking about you're sitting in the circle. And you're floating and like it's rapidy.
Yeah. Those would be bad.
I'm
news to fall out
small.
of.
I would just be lost in the sauce, and then here would come another float of like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I'd just be like holding on to dear life.
I disagree. I say Rip Ride Rocket. I just don't want to go out to Finger 11. I feel like that's just the worst.
Come on, you hit sabotage. You like round a hill, go sail. Anyway. Oh my gosh. All right. So bad news for that. So lots of issues.
Oh man.
When the park first opened with Jaws and all kinds of big problems. So after that, following the summer opening of the park, Universal temporarily shut down the ride in August of 1990. So it was open from June until August. So basically 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
And Universal then sued Ride and Show Engineering, the guys who made the attraction, for failing to properly design the ride, is what they said. So
I mean, valid. I mean, you contracted third party, and the ride is breaking down. I get it.
Yeah, and it's estimated this attraction cost about $40 million, which back in 1990 was a significant chunk of change.
Yeah.
It was also one of the anchors of the park. Literally, Jaws is on all of the original logos of the park. You know, it's like, oh, everyone wants to go see Jaws.
It's Bill Berge's.
Yeah,
OG.
It's his baby. So Universal then collaborated with Totally Fun Company, iTech Entertainment, Intamin, which is a roller coaster company, and Oceaneering International. So we've talked about them in the past. I wanted to say they designed another track. Like it was something like. It was like Hulk or something. It was some weird thing. Or maybe it was the scoop vehicles from Spider-Man and Transformers and kind of that, that I think they worked on something like that. Ben Lexa, do you want to double check on that? What Oceaneering International made for me, please?
I feel like with the name Oceaneering, it sounds like they're like a water ride people.
That was the thing. So they weren't known for making attractions. They're not a theme park company at all. They're literally a company that makes stuff for underwater. Like they make, like submersibles and equipment for doing things underwater. So it's like, hey, we're building an underwater attraction. It's Jaws, and we need giant robots that move around underwater a whole lot. And also, one of the issues they had was the fact that these are large animatronics. They were meant to be shark-sized, so they would move at speed underwater. But when you move, if you ever had your hand under it, like in a swimming pool, you move it, you've got drag. Because of the water, you're literally pushing water out of the way, and a lot of that comes into play. And so, Oceaneering International knew how to work around that and stuff. Ben, do you have an answer for me?
I don't have anything direct. But what I'm finding on Wikipedia is there's 5 rides associated with them, and I think they all tie into what you mentioned. It's The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, The Simpsons ride, Transformers the ride 3D. I would assume it's the actual ride,
the vehicle.
Cart.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, so they ended up working on that too. So kind of like a weird spur of their company.
Interesting.
They did this other thing. So so all of those companies together basically rebuilt the attraction. Like they kept the path was already built.
Right. The story, the framework was there.
Yeah. They got rid of Jaws biting the boat. Obviously, very important.
But so cool. I'm kind of upset that that's gone. If I'm being honest,
there's some videos out there of people wrote. I mean, again, it was only open for 2 months. So they got rid of that. Got rid of Jaws biting the boat. Got rid of the exploding shark at the end, and then replaced the beginning, I think, with just Jaws kind of popping up and startling you and whatnot. And then at the very end, again, he bites an electrical cable, which I think was the end of Jaws 2, maybe, Jaws 1. They blow him up.
Yeah.
So I think it was Jaws 2 or 3 where Jaws bites the cable and gets all shocked. And they replaced you rode that version of it, and so did I, and so that's the one where at the end you have the crispy shark, and then he like pops up again and like give one last startle, and it smells like burnt.
It's gross.
Meat.
It does smell nasty.
yeah. So anyway, so that was the final version of the attraction. That's the one that lived on forever, and so it was a very, very, very popular attraction. People love that thing. It was it was a landmark. It was the first sort of water attraction of that nature.
Right.
And also really kind of showcased Universal's a little bit edgier sort of content they had in parks. People are used to like, Disney, where it's like Pirates of the Caribbean and Small World. Like, that's our water rides. It's like, no, here's a shark that's going to get you.
Totally.
So
also it being like really close to like the movie in a sense of like the way they like tease the shark and like scare you. Like, I feel like the big thing about the film was like you didn't really see baby Bruce till like it was in your face and you're gonna like die. So to have a ride where it's like, hey, you're kind of like in the version of the movie, this shark is gonna get you, like, be careful. I love that. I love that.
It was great. And also too, the one thing I really loved about this attraction that a lot of attractions when they opened was it had a tour guide with you.
Yes.
It had a cast member who was driving the boat and giving the tour, because the whole idea was it was supposed to be, I think it was Captain Jake's like tours of Amity Island. And so you're going around this island. It's like, oh, look, there's not Quint's house. It was Hopper, I think, or what's the?
You said Hopper, and I just thought of Stranger Things. So my brain is screwed now.
The sheriff, the one that was Roy Schneider in the movie.
Hopper is still a sheriff in Stranger Things. This is not helping.
The answer is obviously Freddie Flintstone.
That's it, Freddie Flintstone. No, it was Roy Schneider played the character in the movie
What's his name?
Jaws. He was I'm not padding for time as I open IMDb. I'm horrible. Brody. Sheriff Brody.
Okay, there we go.
And so you see like Sheriff Brody's house, and they see like the mayor and a bunch of other people's houses and stuff. And there's a lighthouse, and then as you're going towards the lighthouse, that's when the radio pops on. It's like, I think it's Gordon is the name of the person. It's like, oh, we've been hit by something. We're not sure what it is. And then it cuts out, and your tour guide reacts to it. You round the corner, and then you see that sinking ship, and it's like, uh-oh, that's not good. And the whole idea is like, this is where the shark attacks were in the 70s, like there hasn't been a shark attack since 1978. And then you see a fin off in the distance, and even the tour guide they're jokingly talking about like they have a gun just in case sharks pop up. Hee hee.
But that never happens.
Yeah, and then the first time, so like they see the shark fin, they panic, pull the gun out, they're looking at it, and as they look at it, it fires, it hits the water. So the idea is like, oh my gosh, like it's a real working gun.
It's an actual gun.
It's a prop. Don't worry, kids. And then they're like, oh, it actually works, and they take a shot and they miss the shark. And so from there, You move on into probably my favorite scene, which is inside the boathouse. Because the idea is like, oh, we'll hide from the shark in a boathouse. Doesn't make a lot of sense because
still water.
Sharks are underwater. They don't see above land. So you go into a dark boathouse. And one of the coolest things is your tour guide then has that light. So all the lights go out and they have like a giant like handheld light. And that's like pretty much the only light in the whole scene is just what the tour guide's showing you. And there's fog effects in there and smoke. And then, of course, like the wall opens up and Jaws pops up inside the boathouse. And it's like, oh my gosh. And you panic and you go away. And then, again, you're fighting with like the tour guide's like, well, let's get you out of here. Because there's like a dock. He's like, okay, we're going to get you out of here quicker. And they're going to head towards the dock. And then, of course, Jaws pops up. He fires. They miss. And they hit a big gas station. Blow up everything. There's fire everywhere. Yeah, and I love that. And like fire on water is so cool. And that'll come back into play in a little bit. And then, of course, you go through the fire. And then you round the corner again. And he's like, all right, this is it. And then Jaws pops up and bites an electrical cable over by near the fire and stuff. Gets shocked to death. And then, crispy Jaws pops up at the end. And it's just like, and then everyone cheers.
It is a ride, though, that everyone cheers at the end. Like, it's one of those where you're like, yeah!
Well, it's so important, too, to have a good skipper. Like, that was the thing. It's like, like every ride that has a tour guide, it was so important that you had someone who gave a damn. It's like I love doing the Backlot Tour when I was there because I put my heart into every single show. And even like, great movie rides, same deal. And like, there was, like you work with some people that are kind of just going through the motions. And I always felt bad anytime we had guests on those attractions. And I was like, oh, no, like, they're not going to have the best show. And so, anyway, all that being said, there's actually a really, really cool Reddit AMA with a former skipper from Jaws.
Really?
It's about 8 years old now.
Cool,
but there was a skipper on there. He's like, I'll answer any question. And they talk about all kinds of fun stuff and like behind the scenes stuff.
Sick.
Don't have a lot of time to get into all that, but it's really, really cool if you check it out. Highly recommend that.
Yeah, we can share the thread on socials. Let everybody
absolutely.
see it if you want to read it.
Yeah, that'd be great. So it's cool stuff in there. Talking about one of their favorite stories was at one point they ended up becoming a manager at the attraction. This person who did the AMA. And they were at dock, and they looked back, and there was a boat coming. They were all cheering, but there was no skipper, and they were like, what? And the skipper pops up, bloodied face, and like blood on their shirt, and they're like, what the heck happened? Apparently, they were a newer cast member over there.
Okay.
And they were really getting into it. And when the shark popped up, they reacted with a gun because it's not a real gun. There's no kickback. So they acted like it kicked and accidentally hit themselves in the face.
Oh my gosh!
They hit themselves in the face and then cut their head and like bloodied their head. And even in that thread on the AMA, that cast member responded to him. It's like, oh, that was me.
Oh.
Here's a photo, and they still have the shirt that's covered in blood. They haven't washed it,
Oh
which is
my God.
super gross. But that's okay.
Gross, but I get it. I kind of get it.
Yeah, it's also cool too because you hear. I mean, the fact that like this guy just kind of posted an AMA and like people from the attraction responded to it. There was a lot of camaraderie there, a lot of love there. As a matter of fact, our friend Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop, she worked at Jaws.
No way.
Yeah, I am super jealous of her because she worked at Jaws and she worked at Jungle Cruise.
Shut up.
Which are like my two
top faves.
Yeah, they're fantastic. So anyway, I tried to get her on the show, but the schedules weren't able to work out. So maybe in the future we'll get her back on and we'll talk about
that'd be cool.
her experiences with the Jungle Cruise and also with
chatting with
Jaws.
her would be awesome.
Yeah. So, what else happened? Oh yeah, one big thing that happened is sometime I want to say in the 90s. There was so they would take the ride down every year for maintenance where they drain the whole lagoon, clean it up and stuff because you have animatronics in there.
Algae too as well, yeah.
Yeah, and apparently there was a tip-off that there was stuff being spilled into the attraction, and sure enough, oil and other things from the various motors and whatnot were leaking into the ground. And Universal got in a little trouble for that. So they then had to replace all of the oil with like natural oil and stuff. It was,
to protect the environment.
Yeah. Very expensive piece of issues there. So never good. Make sure to check your oil. Make sure it's not leaking into the water, especially when you have guests going through all the time.
Totally.
What else is going on? So unfortunately, December 2nd, 2011, Universal Orlando announced the Jaws attraction and the entire Amity area of the park would be shutting down on January 2nd, 2012, the day before my birthday, January 2nd.
So sad.
Of course, we all know what replaced Jaws.
I don't know. Nothing.
Oh, bees.
I don't know.
Bees.
Where is...
Think about it. You walk into Universal Studios. You go all the way down to New York Street. You make a right.
I'm disappointing the pass holders now.
Confrontation / mummies on your left now. You round the corner. There's Beetlejuice Graveyard Review, which is now Fast and the Furious.
Fast and the Furious.
Then you pass Earthquake, and then it became Disaster. You pass that, and right in front of you, and there's Amity. There's Jaws.
Right.
What's there now?
I don't know. Bruce is the only thing there in a restaurant.
Hint. There's a whole new section of the park.
Diagon Alley! Diagon Alley replaced...
Oh, you're talking about... Okay, you gotta specify. It's not Diagon Alley. It's not Diagon Alley. It's actually London, okay?
That's true.
That's what was confusing me. You mean where the night car is? That's what you're telling me, night bus? Okay, got it.
So that whole area was Amity Island, and so... yeah.
Well, also, to be fair, there was a long span of time where nothing was there.
Yeah, it took a few years for that to open up. Because they had to completely level Jaws and then fill in everything and then build up a whole new section of the Wizarding World.
To be fair, I went there often and there was quite literally nothing replacing it.
You see a bunch of walls up there.
I just see walls. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, so that replaced it obviously, and so there are little bits and pieces of Jaws still in the park though. So one of my favorite things is there is a restroom. If you go past Diagon Alley from the outside, you go past a London where Creature pops up in the window and stuff. There is a little restroom kind of situated in front of what used to be the Fear Factor Theater.
Yes.
Kind of in that little corner. It's like this little building by itself. Mm-hmm. For some reason, the soundtrack for that building is still the old Amity Island soundtrack.
Oh my gosh!
So it's all it's 70s and 80s, kind of poppy, kind of not metal, but poppy music and stuff, like Beach Boys and things like that. I guess that'd be 50s, 60s. But anyway, it's that kind of music. So it's that original soundtrack loop is still there.
Cool.
And so I don't know why they left that one alone, but it's still there.
Well, they still got Bruce out.
Bruce is still over by the Fisherman's Wharf, over by Lombard's. And also there is a bar where you can get a Jaws drink. Have you seen that?
Oh, cool. No, I haven't.
So they have it's a specialty cocktail, and they have a Jaws. It's like doo-doo-doo, and they basically have blood in his mouth, which is some kind of red liquor, and they shake it around the cup, so it looks like he's biting someone, and it's blood's going everywhere. So you can still get that. There's some heads in Nocturne Alley, so the dark part of Diagon Alley. There's some magical shrunken heads, and if you use your wand to make them do stuff, they'll start singing, and they sing a song which is "Show Me the Way to Go Home," which is the song that Brody, Quint, and Richard Dreyfuss sing. And at the end of Jaws.
At the end.
Yeah, so it's them singing that song. So that's a cool little Easter egg, too.
That's so cool.
Also, out front, there's a record shop, which I think I pointed this out to you when we were there last time. There's a record shop, and they actually have a record that is very prominently displayed.
Oh, yeah.
It's "Here's to Swimming with Bow-Legged Women, the Quint Trio," which is something that Quint, who's Robert Shaw, that's what he says in the movie.
Oh, my gosh.
And so that's out there, the Quint Trio. Quint is the name of the character. Hooper, excuse me. Hooper is Richard Dreyfuss's character. He's the scientist guy. What else is there? There's another, there is a Jaws, not skeleton, jaw, bone.
Skull?
Is
it the head?
It's the teeth. It's the big open mouth.
Jaws jaw.
Yeah, Jaws jaw in apparently in Mr. Mulpepper's apothecary near the ice cream parlor. It's behind some stuff. You can see it back there too. What else is going on? There's still things. There's still Amity Island Lobster Company over by Lombard stuff. There's still some signage and whatnot around. Theme Park Stop actually has, or Orlando Park Stop has a video, or a video about it, hidden stuff from Jaws. Anyway, and also, of course, Bruce is still up there as well. You can take photos with him.
Yes, I was actually curious in your research. I was told, now this could have been a lie to baby me. This could have been my family's gassing it up. But I was told one of the actual animatronics that was used for the movie was in one of the parks, and there's a big thing that happened with them, or is that a fib?
That's probably a fib, I imagine, because the animatronics they built for the movie, Bruce, the original Bruce, they had all kinds of issues with, and it was really the first time they'd ever done anything like that, and so I imagine those were very rudimentary things, not meant to be used. I mean, literally, these attractions went for years. It went for almost 20 years before they shut it down, or a little over 20 years before they shut it down. And so to have something replicate something over and over and over again has to be heavily engineered. To
definitely my mom probably trying to get me more scared and then excited about the ride for sure.
I mean, to be fair, so there used to be something called the Boneyard at Universal Orlando, or Universal Studios in Orlando. It's actually over across from where the Monsters Cafe used to be.
Okay, yeah.
It's like that big plaza area in front of the stage. There's a thing called the Boneyard where they'd bring in props from movies and stuff.
Okay.
So Jaws may have ended up there at some point.
Okay,
Like,
maybe
like,
then
I mean,
that's
like
it.
maybe a piece of it from the movie like was there. It's just like, hey, because a lot of people forget that Universal Studios and Disney MGM Studios, now Hollywood Studios, they were supposed to be movie studios, and it's like, hey, here's props, here's how we make movies and stuff, and everyone sort of drifted away from that, and now like the only bit of that left is like the animal actor stage and the horror makeup show. It's like, oh, this is how we do stuff in film, and they kind of,
well, that's cool.
but like even, like the Disaster Earthquake was showing you how they made like special effects.
It was like special effects,
yeah,
yeah,
it was
like
really
practical
cool.
effects.
And then I love that kind of stuff. That was my favorite bit, like the backlot tour. I love the backlot tour.
Yeah.
I love seeing how films are made. So the fact they changed it all is like, but what else is going on here? So, one other thing. So during I want to say the mid 2000s, there was a big storm that came through Florida, and like gas suddenly got very expensive. It was very tough to get things. And this attraction used a ton of propane because there was a lot of fire effects towards the end of the attraction. So because of the cost of gas, Universal shut down Jaws because apparently they spent about $2 million a year just on propane.
Oh my goodness.
To keep everything up and running. And so they shut it down for a good chunk of time, and then they brought it back seasonally, but then people got so upset that it was always down. They're like, okay, they brought it back full time. So,
nice. But
yeah, that's one of those things you don't think about. It's like, oh, we have to supply gas for the fire for the Jaws ride. $2 million. Like, what?
What?
But then I think it's like, when I worked at Great Movie Ride, we had the big flaming the bank that catches on fire.
Yeah.
If you were the Bandit show, it's like, oh, yeah, that's a lot of fire. That's a lot of propane.
You don't think about it. You're like, how much? Wait a second.
Yeah. It only happens for a little bit, but it's like, that's still a whole lot.
Well, a little bit. How many times a day?
I mean, you could cook a lot of burgers on that thing. I'm just saying. Let's see here. What else am I missing? I think that's pretty much it. So, one other thing, too. This attraction opened up in Japan back in 2001.
Really?
So if you miss Jaws the ride, you can go to Japan because it's still there.
It's still there?
It is still there and still running right now. So
my goodness.
just another reason for us to go to Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, so many things. We want to go see Stitch at the, not Carousel of Progress, at the Enchanted Tiki Room. I want to see Stitch over there. I want to ride Jaws. I want to go on all the classic stuff. Go see Back to the Future. I don't know I think Back to the Future might still be running. I'm not 100% on that one. But anyway, but yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, this is a really, really cool attraction. It was one of those, like, something about giant animatronics is just always really impressive, and I love it. And these come close to you and they spit water at you and stuff. And again, like the excitement and like the fear being in like the enclosed space, the darkness and the sort of back and forth with a really excited, tour guide and everything was always great.
And you're like so close to the water, and like I don't know if you're like me where you're like I need to know if it's a water ride or if it's just a ride. And like when you don't know and you take that first ride on it, you're like, am I gonna get wet? What's gonna happen? Oh no, there's a shark.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it was a lot of fun. And I miss this attraction a whole lot, and I wish
me too.
This would be definitely one. If I could turn back time, I'd go ride it a few more times. For
sure. I think the last time I got to go on it was when I was there for Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh wow.
And the ride was still functional, but like in the, I guess, what do you call this? The boathouse that's there in the queue. Yeah, they like kind of like turned a lot of that into Camp Boggy Creek for Jason. I'm pretty sure that's Jason.
That's
so
cool.
it had like the whole like summer camp vibe because that was the ride already, and I was already scared out of my mind being there, and all of a sudden the explosions are like going off in the background, and you're like, is it the house or is it the ride? And, so
awesome.
I'm here for anything spooky.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. I forgot to mention the queue is actually really cool too, because you go through like a boathouse and like and they have TV set up that are running KWJ,
like the
KWJWS or something like that, and it's like it's them showing like, oh, it's like classic films, and it's like here's stuff, and it kind of explaining what happened with Jaws, and I love that sort of kitschy like, hey, here's like, welcome to our boathouse, don't worry, no sharks here, like that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. Like those, you don't really get that a lot in queues anymore. Like I'm thinking like the Jurassic Park attraction had a really good video, like the river adventure had a really good video, but you don't really see that as much anymore. You don't see the monitors overhead. I guess like maybe Despicable Me has them, where it's like keeping kids entertained while waiting in line.
E.T.'s got them still, I think.
E.T.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the outdoor queue does. Yeah. And then did you get in the interior queue, and it's
the
Steven
pre-show,
Spielberg.
yeah. I was like, I kind of miss those, I'm not gonna lie. Why?
Yeah. It's like, here's some trivia. Before people had cell phones, they were playing the game where you do the card on your head or whatever. It was like people would watch the videos in line. So. Anyway, that's gonna do it for our look at Jaws. Again, great attraction. Hopefully, we'll get some friends on and talk about the attraction. I want to talk to more people about their experiences on rides.
I love chatting with homies.
It's a lot of fun. So, one thing, I got a letter. We got a letter from Angela Fing. I haven't gone through this yet, so I don't know if it's good. All right, let's see here. Do they have a note? I think it might just be. Is this just
a letter within a letter?
I'm looking for any sort of note from them. Okay, here we go. Dear Jack, BK, and Ben, hello from Japan.
Hey!
Actually, I'm from Sydney, but we booked our tickets the second the borders opened again. We were meant to go for our honeymoon in 2020, so I'm sending some postcards and park maps from Disney and Universal. Universal only had maps in Japanese, but Disney wasn't doing paper maps at all. Luckily, they had these postcards with all the attractions on them. So please accept these, both as postcards for your wall and park maps to add to your collection. # send annual pass to Japan, part 2.
Yes, # send annual pass to Japan.
Oh, they have a second part. Oh my gosh, there's more to it.
Oh.
Part 2 of the postcards. I did my IDCP back in 2013 and got to work on operations at Magic Kingdom on the Carousel and PhilharMagic.
Oh, wow.
The highlight was getting to touch Donald's fluffy butt. He's literally just his backside stored upstairs before he crashes in the wall at the end of PhilharMagic. All the Disneys are so far from Australia, so any Disney is home to me. I hope you all get to visit Japan soon and get to experience it all yourselves. Thanks for everything. Been watching Rooster Teeth Achievement Hunter for over 10 years. # send annual pass to Japan.
Yes.
Angela. Thank you very much, Angela.
Thank you.
P.S. added extra park maps from previous trips to the Asia parks. P.P.S. Hi, Katie. Oh, nice. Sweet. And they left an address here, so maybe we can send them something back. That is a long trip, though. But anyway, let me hide this address so just nothing gets seen. We've got some postcards here. Let's see here. We've got... I'll give this to you. I'll let you look at this.
Some of these.
We've got guide maps from Shanghai Disneyland from December 2019. Oh, man, this is so cool. This might be my first Shanghai map. And that's, you can see right here. So if you're watching youtube.com/annual pass, you can check this out.
And then
very neat.
I've got USJ over here, Universal Studios Japan.
Oh, man.
A little Mario on the cover. They got Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Oh, they've got Tomorrowland with the Tron, the original Tron attraction in the background there. And then here is another. Oh God, there's stickers. Stickers fell out.
Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty's Christmas happiness.
Uh-oh.
BK, the day that we go to Japan, we should sit down and you and I should do an annual pass anime episode where we go over all the anime theme park rides that exist and we teach Jack about anime.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm just going through it right now, looking at all the shows.
All right, so this is Hong Kong Disneyland. And it also has a thing, so on the map, the middle part where the castle is, it says create your own Disney castle. It has a QR code.
What?
I'm gonna have to check this out offline and maybe do something with it. So this is wild. Thank you so much, Angela. This is so cool. There's also stickers here. Hong Kong Disneyland app with a little Mickey and Minnie. Oh, and then I've got a little it's the alien dudes with a watermelon on their head for some reason. I don't know what's going on there.
That's so cute.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that is super cool. If you have anything you want to send our way like this, if you happen to go to Japan, let us know. But you can send it to Annual Pass, care of Rooster Teeth Productions, 1901 East 51st Street, Austin, Texas, 78723.
They got Monster Hunter?
we gotta go over there. We gotta reach out to Chris. Chris the Explorer.
Jujutsu Kaisen, the real 4D Monster Hunter Iceborne VR walk? I'm sorry, I'm going through it right now.
Okay?
There's a whole,
I am going through it right now. Sing on tour?
There's a whole non-Universal theme park, Universal Studios theme park that apparently is a island for Dragon Quest, and you actually literally go there and do Dragon Quest quests and sign up and do all everything from the video game.
I want to go, Jack.
I remember the original Dragon Quest. I played that on my NES.
Me, Jack.
All right, let's go. We'll go to Japan. So,
Jack, I can either brush up on my Japanese or I can start running a 5K. I can only one or the other.
You got to pick one.
You can listen to Babel while you're running. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. But all right, well, that's going to pretty much do it today. BK, do you feel like you learned anything today, or did I lose you to anime?
I think you might have lost me to anime.
Nice. All right. I also need to ask you guys a question because when we do our live streams, I'm going to ask you guys a question. How about this? So we had a gentleman fall out of the attraction during one of the openings of Jaws, the ride. I asked BK already, what would be your attraction? Let's say not roller coaster. So not like whipping out of a roller coaster, so not Incredible Hulk or Velocicoaster. What attraction would you hate to fall out of mid-ride? Me personally, it'd be something like Living with the Land. Like, it'd have to be something slow where it's like, oh, how did I even do that? Just like more embarrassed and sad. Like, not dangerous, but it'd be like,
it's a small world, and then you're trapped on the ride.
Oh, no, that's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments over roosterteeth.com what attraction you would hate to fall out of during the ride. But that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you so much, everyone who tunes in and listens. Thank you, everyone who supports the show. Make sure to follow us on our social media. Make sure to grab some merchandise as well. We've still got we've got the shirts. We have the little mini backpacks in store as well, and I still need to work with our merchandise department to get some gifts for that or something.
They got Snoopy and Elmo.
Oh, Snoopy and Elmo? Our worlds collide. We love you. Y'all have yourself a wonderful day. Bye, everyone.
See ya.